Welcome to Truck and Travel. I'm Derek.
I'm Cinnamon.
Today's video is sponsored by Hyfield. If you're interested in doing what we do and driving one of these trucks for a living, reach out to Hyfield Trucking at the link and phone number in the video description. Let them know Truck and Travel sent you. Come on. Guys, remember while we're doing these videos, we weren't with Hyfield, so we didn't get the mentorship, so we didn't do as good as you potentially could do if you did have a mentor. That's why we highly recommend going with Hyfield, because they offer a mentorship and you'll be more successful that way. You have bigger opportunities and more chances at success than we did.
Yep.
All right, this week we started off on Tuesday. We started out from home. We went to Lockbourne, Ohio, and this load goes all the way down over to Olive Branch, Mississippi. Almost forgot that one. All right, Cinnamon, tell us about this load.
So this load is actually a warmer temperature load. So it is a temperature load. The set point is 20 degrees Celsius or 68 degrees Fahrenheit. And it is only one pallet weighing 450 pounds. So what kind of miles are we looking at, Derek?
Okay, so the run miles on this one is 591 miles. But if you include the deadhead, for the all miles, it ends up being 707 miles. All right, Cinnamon, can you break down the pay per mile on these?
So if we're looking at just the loaded miles, then the pay per mile is $3.67, which is great. Not too many deadhead miles, so when you add in all miles, the deadhead and the run miles, and it ends up being $3.07 per all miles. So the load pay for this load was $2,169.65.
I think that's really good.
Yeah.
I like this one.
It's an easy one. It's a great place.
Yeah. Looking back at this now, I wish we would have done that more often.
Yeah.
I asked a lot more money, but what do you do? This next one has a really big deadhead. It's picking up all the way over in the east at Allentown, Pennsylvania. It's picking up on Thursday. Okay, so it'd be the following day after we drop off on the previous load.
So I guess we couldn't get anything in the area.
Which, you know, this is pretty standard. You can't always expect to drop and then pick up another one the same day, okay? It was pretty typical for us to drop one day, then the next day, or even have a day in between of a break. But so this one picks up in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and it is going back over to Louisville, Kentucky, dropping off the next day, which is a Friday. All right, Cinnamon, can you tell us more about this load?
So this load actually had a lot of pallets. We're used to like 1 or 2, maybe 4. This one had 12. So don't remember, like they had to have stacked it because our truck size, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
There had to have been certain ones that you could stack.
And sometimes they call them pieces, you know, instead of pallets, or
yeah, that's true.
And they'll have like stuff stacked up on top of each other that doesn't really look like it, but it's another pallet on top of it, and then they have the whole thing saran wrap.
Yeah, and like, because mostly for our industry, we don't have a lot of pallets that they do stack, but sometimes they do, depending on the place, I guess.
Not with the freight that we focused on taking.
Yeah.
Like there's so much more freight that we could have taken that they did stack, but
yeah, that's true.
The stuff that we focused on didn't stack a lot. Yeah,
but there was 12 pallets, and so it ended up being, for all 12 of those, 4,200 pounds.
Yeah.
It was a temperature load, so the set point was 5 Celsius, and in Fahrenheit, that's 41 degrees Fahrenheit. So what kind of miles were we looking at, Derek?
All right, the run miles on this one was only, I say only, for us doing this, it was decent. It was a good run. 647 miles. But if you include deadhead from Olive Branch, that's where we dropped off, to Allentown, that's a long drive in itself. Big deadhead just to get this, so if it would have canceled, that would have hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
So you got that deadhead, and then after this load, we went home, okay, because this drops on Friday. This was the last load of the week. So that was a lot of miles, but I mean, the drop isn't really too far from where we live, so that's why we did it. And we live in a decent area to where, you know, like Lockbourne, we picked up, you know, the load before this. It's close to home. So if you include all them deadhead miles, ends up being 1,922 miles.
That's a big
total
difference
miles,
going from
yep.
600 something to.
Yeah. All right, Cinnamon, go ahead and give them the bad news of how the pay per miles broke down on this one.
Well, if you're just looking at the run from Allentown to Louisville, the pay per mile was $5.45. But looking at adding the deadhead miles from Mississippi up to Allentown, and then at the end, the Louisville to home, and the run miles, it makes it $1.83 per mile for all miles. So which is not bad.
Really good.
Yeah.
I think personally.
The pay for this load was $3,524.20.
Yep. So
that's a good load. Like,
that was a great load.
If only we were closer to start off with. So.
Yeah. So all right, Cinnamon, what did we do for the week?
So for the week, the total pay was $5,693.85.
It's really good.
The total amount of miles that we went, including all the deadhead and all the run miles, was 2,629 miles. And so that ends up being $2.17 for all of the miles that we did for the week. And then we end up in a good spot too, because we're in Ohio and it's a good area, you know.
So we started a day late. We started on Tuesday, which that happens. You can't always win these bids.
Get a Monday load, sometimes you can't, yeah.
When we do it, we like to bid on stuff. We don't necessarily like to take stuff off the load board if we can help it, unless it's great, and then it just depends on the situation. And it really worked out this week. I think for 2 loads, to get that amount of money in a week, I think is great. All right, Cinnamon, you want to give us the rundown for our career that we've done so far? Mm-hmm. End of week 6.
Yeah, so this is for all the stats are all 6 weeks combined together. Yep. So the pay for all the miles that we did up to this point is $2.18 per mile.
I think it's great. Our minimum goal is $2.
Yeah.
So our average is good.
Which you don't have to go by that amount. That's just something that Derek and I agreed on.
This is our thing.
Yeah. So
it really depends on the cost of equipment, your maintenance, fuel. There's so many factors in this.
Yep.
So this was what we had figured out for us.
So the total amount of miles that we've done so far have been 14,241 miles. The total pallets or pieces that we've done up until this point is 41.
Yep.
Total freight weight is 18,861 pounds. The total loads that we've done to this point is 17 loads. The average weight per load is 1,109, which the averages are going up a little bit. And it's interesting to see, especially if anybody who is watching this is a trucker with like a regular truck. So the average miles per week that we've done to this point is about 2,373. The average pay per week is $5,162.53.
Yep.
And so what we've made to the truck up to this point, which remember, if you haven't seen our previous videos, I highly encourage it. Our first week was like a half week, and this is without a mentorship and just kind of trying to feel our way through what we're doing.
We tried to get through trucking the best we could.
So up until this point, we made $30,975.15. That's gross to the truck.
Yeah.
So that's before any splits or any tolls or fuel or anything like that. So.
Everybody has different money situations, and I feel like for us, I'm pretty content with that amount of money, the average per week.
I do definitely want to point out that a lot of times when you have teams in different industries, sometimes they're going constantly. This was more of a relaxed, trying to, test our foot in the water and figure out what we're doing. So we weren't constantly going.
This is as us doing FedEx Custom Critical independent contractors. So we're driving a truck that was leased to FedEx Custom Critical. It had a reefer unit on it, and the name of the game is hurry up and wait. So once you get a load, you hurry up and deliver it. No dilly-dallying or whatever you call it. You get it there. You have to be quick
in the delivery and everything else, but then you
legally and safely, and then you wait around for a load. Sometimes you get a load before you even drop the load off. So it's nice. And some people will stack loads up before they even take the first one. But, it just...
Sometimes that works out. Sometimes it doesn't in case, things cancel and stuff. So it always depends.
Let's say somebody has 5 loads lined up for the week, and the 3rd load cancels. When you stack these loads, you got to make sure that you figure out the miles of all of them connected together, and then you add up all the money and make sure it all works out, pay per mile. And then if, let's say, load number 3 cancels, does it screw up the rest of them to where you got to cancel
still
load?
Makes sense.
To where
the
you
miles
got
and the pay.
to where you got to cancel load number 4 and number 5. You know, you can only do the first 2. So it's happened to us many times.
Yep.
So, and just remember that if you go with Hyfield, you get a mentorship. I highly recommend it. Really work out for you. Well, guys, thank you so much for riding along with us, watching our videos. We really do appreciate it. God bless you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. On to the next one.
On to the next one.